It's time for Dodger baseball.
One out and it's a perfect game.
High fly ball into right field. She is gone. Fernando Valenzuela has pitched a no-hitter.
This is a no-hitter. Turner in the air to center field. That ball's hit well. Martinez on the run. This is way back, and it is gone. It is a walk-off home run for Justin Turner.
And for the second consecutive season, the Dodgers are going to the World Series.
Bellinger hammers the ball. It's Bellinger's turn. Lifts a fly ball to left center field. Back towards the wall. It is gone. Mookie with another 3-home run game.
And welcome into the Dodgers Nation post-game show. I'm your host, Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. That's at DMac_LA. The Dodgers get the win tonight 6-3, and they were cruising most of the night. A big bounce-back outing for Julio Urias. We're going to break it all down. Scott Alexander. Alexander wasn't very great in the last inning there. Scott Alexander did not get the job done there. Gives up a home run, a walk, a hit batsman, and then Kenley comes in and he gets the job done. But the Dodgers, they get the win. They're 8 straight at Dodger Stadium. We're going to break down all of tonight's action. But first, you know how we get things kicked off here on the Dodgers Nation post-game show. Let me know where you represent Dodgers Nation from tonight. Give me those cities, zip codes, and area codes. Throw those into the comments section along with all your fire Dodger takes. But welcome in to the Dodgers Nation post-game show. Let's jump right into these comments. Let's talk some Dodgers baseball, starting with Doug Crosby, Urias and CT3 players of the game. Thanks, Alexander, for prolonging the game half an hour. Kristen, Yaz, go Dodgers. I like that from Christina. It was almost Urias tonight, right? Because Julio Urias, a big bounce-back outing for Julio Urias. He comes out aggressive. He was commanding his fastball. He was landing his breaking stuff for strikes, and we're going to break down Urias' outing. A very impressive showing for Julio Urias. Yes, it was the first against the worst tonight, but that was a big outing for Julio Urias, because if he comes in and he stinks up the joint tonight, hey, they could say, let's give Alex Wood another shot. Urias, though, he looked like a man tonight, a man on the mound. To be the man, you have to have the command, and tonight he was painting, he was locating, and I was very impressed with what I saw with Julio Urias. What do you guys grade Julio Urias' outing tonight? Let me know down below in the comments, but let's jump back into these comments here. Joseph Megazzeni, hello from Detail A, Mr. Doug. What's up, Mr. Megazzeni? A day one here on the Dodgers Nation post-game show. Ricardo, a much better Urias. Alexander does not work anymore. Luis, go Dodgers. Train. Urias is good. T-Dog, what's up? Richard, I love L.A. Brian Vogel, much better game for Julio. Gavin is still struggling. Yeah, Gavin Lux, not the best outing again tonight for Gavin Lux. Gavin Lux, he looks like he's still struggling at the plate. He took that fastball in the 8th inning. I believe it was the 7th inning. He takes it right down Broadway, and he just looks at it. Gavin Lux tonight, another night where he comes off. He had 2 hits the other day, a double and a single, but Gavin Lux is still trying to figure out that second base position. The Dodgers need more productivity from that position. At second base, they're hitting .203. That's the lowest of any position group for the Dodgers. They need to find a way to get some more productivity from that position group, but Gavin Lux tonight, he goes 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. So 2 strikeouts for Gavin Lux. Pollock struck out a couple times. Muncy struck out a couple times. Betts struck out once. But the story tonight was the Dodgers walking their way to a victory today. The Dodgers walking their way to a victory. 8 walks for the Dodgers tonight. They're now 16-2 in games where they have 4 or more walks on the season. So, hey, if they walk, walking is winning for this club, because if they are able to get free passes and free rides to first, that just opens it up for this offense. But here we go. Let's jump back into the comments. Then we'll start recapping this game and breaking it all down. So Viva España. I'm going to just end it out that one before I embarrass myself. But shout out, I got my Piensa Azul shirt on here tonight. I doubted Urias, but today he showed me he might just be it. Yeah, I never doubted Julio Urias' stuff. He has the talent. If you just just look at the metrics. He is above average in a lot of categories that you need to be successful with the way with contact rate, and he's still inducing soft contact at an elite level. And tonight, the way I loved about him, though, he was throwing his four-seamer past guys early in the game. So he was at 93 early, then he starts kicking it up a notch, 95, 96, and then he was landing that curveball for strikes. And we're talking about called strike threes. So Julio Urias, he changed the grip on that slider a little bit. That looked much better today. And Julio Urias, he had gone 5 2/3 innings in his last 2 starts combined. Tonight, 6 strong from Julio Urias, and he was commanding that strike zone. If he just throws strikes, Julio Urias is a top 3 pitcher on a World Series contending team, maybe even a top 2 pitcher on some nights. And Julio Urias, he had a different fire in his eye early in this one, and I knew from the outset that he was focused. So top of the first, he gets the Castro swing on a curveball, so 2 quick strikes. He was locating that fastball early for the first out, gets Marte to ground to short to Seager, and then he was hitting 95 on the gun, 95, 96. So that's been the issue with Julio Urias. On the year, opponent's ERA in that first inning is 10.1. After that, a 1.74, a 1.71. So first inning ERA of 10.5, and then after that, 2+ on, a 1.71. So getting out of that first inning, having the confidence, and only 12 pitches in that first frame for Julio Urias, 9 for strikes, and then the punch out. He gets Walker to pop to Muncy at first, and then he punches out. And then like I said, in the last couple of games, he was averaging 23 pitches per inning in his last 2 starts, 12 pitches in that first for Julio Urias. And then the bottom of the first inning, what you were looking for was how would the Dodgers fare against a lefty? Because it's been well documented, the Dodgers struggles against left-handed pitching. And tonight they did it with plate discipline and some offense by Chris Taylor, A.J. Pollock. But for the most part, they didn't exactly rock a lefty again tonight. On the year, the Dodgers are still looking to shore that up. A.J. Pollock, he had a hit. He roped one tonight. But the Dodgers offense, they need to find a way to start. Now, the good thing about that, though, is, yes, they've struggled mightily against lefties this year, but they're 8-2 against lefties, now 11-2 against lefties. So as long as you're getting those results, the Dodgers are going to be just fine. And tonight, the Dodgers, they get it done. But let's jump back into some of these comments here. We got Reppin from East Lansing, Michigan, Doug Crosby. I could use a Cobra Kai phase, no mercy. Yeah, I like that. You see the third one on YouTube. I recommend that. Matthew, Jacksonville, North Carolina, the 28546, originally from the 805, repping blue. Visalia, California from Jesus. Rick, Peoria, Arizona, go Dodgers. San Diego from Cheryl. Darren from Fayetteville, New Orleans. Or is that North Carolina? The 28311, go Dodgers. Adam, what up, Adam? I wanted to see the bazooka. Is that too much to ask? A lot you were going to get him. He was warming up. You were going to get your boy, the bazooka. But, look, Jake McGee came in there. He had a 1-2-3 scoreless, got a punch out. Alex Wood walked a guy, but for the most part, Alex Wood in his first start back, he had a nice showing for Alex Wood. But, yeah, you always want to see the bazooka. But, look, he's only 21, and he's going to be the next closer of the Los Angeles Dodgers whenever Kenley Jansen retires in the next 2-3 years or whatever that may be. So, bazooka, you'll have your time with Brother Gatorade. For sure. But here we go here. We got Dan Madison. Hey, from Queen Creek, Arizona. Glad to see Woody do well. Yeah, Alex Wood, he was out for quite some time, and he comes in today. And look, I think it's important. They trade Ross Stripling, and then Alex Wood knows that's my new role. The Dodgers have gone with this rotation of Walker Buehler, Clayton Kershaw, Julio Urias, Dustin May, and Tony Gonsolin. And so assuming the role in the bullpen and embracing that role, you saw today he looked sharp out there. Was only hitting 91 on the gun, but he was locating, and he had life on that fastball. And, it was nice to see him come out there. Jesus Urias had great command. Yeah, Julio Urias today, that was really the story. Look, that third inning there where he gives up the home run, that could have gone south very quickly for Julio Urias. Yeah, so the Dodgers heading into today, 8-2, they're now 9-2 against lefties. and they were hitting 243 off lefty starters on the year. 11 of the 68 Dodger home runs are against lefties. So that's only 16%. So whether or not that presents a problem in the postseason moving forward, we'll find out. But I think you're going to see guys start to hit closer to their career averages. Guys like Justin Turner and definitely Mookie Betts. A.J. Pollock can keep it up. Chris Taylor is a guy that's historically hit lefties better than he's hitting this year. But yeah, let's break down that third inning. So the third inning was really critical. That third inning was really critical. So Carson Kelly, who loves to play at Dodger Stadium, Carson Kelly homers off Urias on a fastball inside, and he's hitting .350 with 4 home runs at Dodger Stadium, and it was Urias' 4th home run he's given up on the year. He gave up 7 all of last year. Then Castro singles, Marte singles to right to beat the shift. The Dodgers used the shift more than any team in Major League Baseball last year, and Marte, he was just aiming for it. He saw the opening, took advantage, and they were up 0-2, and Urias was up 0-2 to Walker, and he misses with the fastball. Then Urias gets Escobar a line to left for the third out of the inning. So 1 run, 3 hits, 2 left, and a pivotal moment in Julio's season right there. I know it's a little dramatic to say that was a make-or-break inning or a make-or-break sequence for Julio Urias, but if he gets rocked there, it's another short outing. I think the Dodgers seriously consider moving and shaking up that rotation, but he gets out of that inning, and he was sharp for the rest of the way. Now, the bottom of the third inning, let's jump to the bottom of the third. A.J. Pollock, he lines on a base hit to left, and he starts to left with a stand-up double. He cranked that curveball, and that's a sweet spot. He cranked that curveball, so it's nice to see the Dodgers get some hits off of not only a lefty, but off some breaking pitches, and A.J. Pollock has been consistent doing that all season long. Max Muncy strikes out swinging on a curveball. CT3 lines one into the right field corner. That rolled all the way to the corner. A.J. Pollock scored easily on the play, making it 2-1 Dodgers. It was a cutter. He got jammed, and Chris Taylor gets his second RBI of the night. He walked in the first one when it was bases loaded earlier in the game. It was a fantastic at-bat from CT3. He's just putting great swings on pitches this year. He was going through a little bit of a slump, but I think CT3, I want to just see him parked at second base the rest of the way. Kike Hernandez just missed a grand slam, missed a solo shot late in the game, but I think Chris Taylor at second, Gavin Lux, you can work on that, see how much progress Gavin Lux can make in the last month or so heading into the postseason. But I think Chris Taylor, he's dangerous. Barrels are overrated. He proved it once again on that pitch. He doubles, and it was second RBI of the night. And it was he knows how to find his pitches. It was an 0-1 cutter, belt high. He took it into right, and I just love the way Chris Taylor's playing this year. He's walking more. He's more selective, has a better feel for the strike zone this time around. And then Kike, he grounds into an inning ending. Oh, and then after that, Will Smith, he takes his 14th walk of the season. He's only struck out 10 times on the year, so that's nothing you want to look at, too. Will Smith, Austin Barnes was hot, but Will Smith, I think moving forward, he's quietly put together a really nice season. He's had a lot of bad luck this year. He's been the victim of some bad luck, a lot of hard contact right to the gloves of the opposing team. But it was his 14th walk of the year. He's only struck out 10 times. He leads the team in walk percentage at .206. And then Kike Hernandez, he grounds into a 5-4-3 double play. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 left after 3. But let's jump back into this comment section. Let's read some of these grades for Julio Urias. I got the Knob, give him an A. Brian Alexander should have been traded to. Valencia from Anthony, B+ from Doug Crosby. I'm glad we traded Strip. Hey, Ross Stripling, to me, is, like Andrew Friedman said, a consummate professional, and he loved putting on that Dodgers uniform. He gave everything he had in Dodger blue. He's a friend of Dodgers Nation, a friend of Clint Pasillas and Brooks Smith, and the host and lead editors here at Dodgers Nation, and the host of the Blue Heaven podcast. But look, it was a mutual. I think it was it was good for both parties. I think that if you're Ross Stripling, you go to a team where you have an opportunity to start, right? And with Ross Stripling, there was just no spot for him on this Dodgers team anymore, considering the progress that Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin made. And Andrew Friedman said it himself, he wants to get this team younger. You don't want to keep going with the older guys. Not saying Ross Stripling is old, but when you have young talent like Tony Gonsolin and Dustin May, it's time to go with the young guns. And then if you're Ross Stripling, it's an opportunity for you, because if you're Ross Stripling, what you want to do, the best thing for Ross Stripling would have been if the trade went through to the Angels and he had a solid year for them and he was able to sign a contract for a pitcher. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case for Ross Stripling. But I think the writing was on the wall for quite some time. They tried to trade him in the offseason. They didn't give him a fair shake in spring training. This is according to Ross Stripling. And I think it was just out of respect. I think that they didn't want to throw him in that bullpen. But what's your favorite memory of Ross Stripling? I think it's his start, his first start with the Dodgers, his Dodger debut, where he goes 7 1/3, has a no-hitter. They take him out of the game. I think Roberts should have kept him in there now. But look, if you look at Ross Stripling, it was time to move on. And then look at Andrew Friedman. Andrew Friedman fleecing another team, picking the pockets of the Toronto Blue Jays. He gets Kendall Williams, and Kendall Williams, by all accounts, is a highly regarded prospect with a lot of upside. He's 6'6", he's a righty, he's got a mid-90s fastball, and I think that, look, like he said, you got to keep this engine going. Andrew Friedman said they like his upside, they like his physicality, which is, I don't know, for baseball physicality, but look, I think that it was the right move. And if you look at Ross Stripling, too, maybe ultimately he does end up as a bullpen piece. The teams are OPSing 800 on him after the first time through the order, so I think that's something they also consider. But, hey, all love here for Ross Stripling. Still going to rock with the Big Swing podcast. Wish you nothing but luck as long as you're not playing the Dodgers. But here, let's jump back into these comments. How'd you guys feel about the Ross Stripling move? Tim Rogers, Urias was aggressive, and that was needed. Would look decent in the pen, 91, 92 miles per hour. Yeah, it's not easy to make your first start back. And Alex Wood definitely came out there. He struck out Varsho on a called strike 3. And that fastball had some nice movement on it. It was tailing. He gets that to get Kelly for the punch out on the next out. So lots of strikes. But then he loses a little bit of control, hits LeCastro, and then he gets Marte to fly to center. So nice showing by Alex Wood, and we're going to need him. Alex Wood has been through these wars with the Dodgers. He was in there in 2017. He knows what it's like to pitch in high-leverage, big-stage, postseason games. So having Alex Wood definitely is an asset, and I hope he thrives in that role, because Woody got off to a tough start. His first start against the Giants, he gets rocked, goes out with shoulder inflammation. He was not right. So, hey, we need more arm. A lot of lefty arms in that pen, but hey, may the best arm get the starts, and Alex Wood, it was good to see him out there tonight. And then Julio Urias is really the story of this game. Julio Urias, let's jump to the top of the fourth inning. So the top of the fourth inning, he gets Calhoun to ground to Lux at second for the first out. Then he falls behind to Ahmed 2-0. Then he gets him to hit into a lazy fly ball for the second out. Then he strikes out Young swinging on a fastball for his fourth whiff of the night. And it was his second perfect inning in a row. He had retired 8 straight at one point. And then in the bottom of the fourth inning, nothing really doing for the Dodgers. Rios, he lines out. Nice to see Rios back in there. Lux takes a walk. So that was probably his best at-bat of the night, that bottom of the fourth for Gavin Lux. And Mookie singles to right, giving the Dodgers runners on first and second. And then Seager lines the center for the second out. Then Pollock chases a fastball high and away outside of the zone, and the Dodgers left 2 on. So really not the best night for this Dodgers offense. They get the job done, and like I said, the plate discipline was respectable, was really the story, and then really how this Dodgers end up getting it done. But they go 2 for 15 tonight, 2 for 15 with runners in scoring position, 3 for 15 with runners in scoring position on the night. And they had them on the ropes in that first inning. They could have blew it wide open after that first inning. The Dodgers came out, and unfortunately, one good thing is they did get Young's pitch count up to 35, but the Dodgers, they had a chance to they had a lot of missed opportunities there in the first inning to get that first-round knockout. But it's okay. The story tonight, if the Dodgers, I think tonight was all about Julio Urias getting back on track and bouncing back after 2 rough outings. So we head to the top of the 5th inning, just another phenomenal frame for Julio Urias. He goes 4-seam, curveball, 4-seam, 3 pitches to get Varsho to watch strike 3 for the first out, and then Carson Kelly hits one off the end of the bat to fly to left for the second out. So, and then he gets him for the third out too. So 1, 2, 3 inning, 8 straight for Urias, and then in the bottom of the 5th inning. So the bottom of the 5th inning is when this Dodger lineup really got going and started to just pull away from this Diamondbacks team, and we needed it based on what Scott Alexander did in that 9th inning there. So that 4th inning, they put up more runs, but we're going to break that down in a second here. Let's jump back into these comments here. We got Doug Crosby, B+, A-. Julian should have gone Hader in the deadline. Julian, I think that Hader is a nice name. His fastball velo has dropped. He's throwing more sliders these days. I'm not too concerned with Josh Hader. I think that Hader would have been a nice pickup, but I think the Dodgers have more than enough arms in this bullpen to get it done in October. It would have been a nice pickup, but I don't know. I don't know if he really fits the culture of the Dodgers. I know he's turned it around, but look, yeah, he's a beast. He was a beast in his a few years ago when we faced him in 2018 when they were going with openers. But this late in the game, I don't think it was a pressing need to make a move. But Cindy, Inglewood, always up to no good. Bleed blue. We got Julian. Alexander sucks. To be frank, tell me how you really feel, Julian. Adam, can we get a moment of silence for our boy Chicken Strip? Yeah, Chicken Strip. Hey, you did. I had a nice 7-piece chicken strip. I won't say where I got them in for him yesterday because Ross Stripling, this guy is a class act. If you just read the fan accounts, by all accounts, he was just the nicest guy to everyone he came into contact with. And Ross Stripling, the next chapter, hey, at least he's still in blue and red essentially. So he's still rocking the blue, but it's Blue Jay blue and not Dodger blue. Say what's up to my friend Hyunjin Ryu up in Toronto. But here we go. Why we trade Stripling from East Bay Raider? Well, really it was the reason for trading Stripling was mainly because the Dodgers were stockpiled from a bullpen standpoint and from a starter standpoint. And what this does, I think that ultimately he could have been a detriment to this team if they bring him in there and there's this confusion. I think a more clearly defined roles for this rotation is going to work wonders because now Tony Gonsolin isn't going to have to worry about getting sent down. Dustin May isn't going to have to worry about going to the bullpen. These guys know what is in front of them, and they're going to prepare as a starter. And I think that the best is yet to come for Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin, and it's really addition by subtraction because one, we're getting a prospect that could pan out for the Dodgers the way we know how to develop arms. I think there's that, but also there's one too many mouths to feed as far as Dodger starting pitchers goes, and then they make the move to put Alex Wood in the bullpen. So I think that it was definitely the right move. But Brian Alex, choke Shaw next month. Hey, I'm going to screenshot that. And when Clayton Kershaw is raising that commissioner's trophy, and he wins World Series MVP, I'll come holler at you. Brian Alex, hopefully not. Julio Urias, looking more comfortable in this game. Sandra, go Dodgers from Los Angeles. Verdell, can Urias string together good starts? That is the question. That is the question, and it's a fair question. But tonight, yeah, you can only have one start at a time. And Julio Urias, he did his thing tonight. Julio Urias against a Diamondbacks team last in the NL West, he took care of business. He goes 3-0 on the year. He improves to 3-0 on the year, 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, no walks. That was the key ingredient to his success tonight. No walks for Julio Urias, and he was very aggressive. But if you look at his last couple starts, 130 pitches in just 5 2/3 innings. Tonight, it was a different story. He was efficient. He had the command of his fastball. He was landing his breaking ball for strikes. And tonight, just 78 pitches for Julio Urias. So I'm giving him an A for aggressive tonight because Julio Urias was aggressive out there. He had a different fire in his eye early in the game, and he was also missing bats. 9 swings and misses for Julio Urias tonight. He was missing bats with his fastball, just throwing it by guys, throwing it not to the catcher, through the catcher, and he was also getting called strikes on his curveball. So tonight was a step in the right direction for Julio Urias. To me, a breakthrough game for Julio Urias because you build on this and then that momentum into your next start. He comes out. He's going to be he knows now that 10-5 ERA in the first inning, it's going to drop, but he knows that's his weakness. So now he's on high alert. He knows the type of success that he's going to have if he can get out of that first inning and build on that. So to me, a big night for Julio Urias. And like I said, you can't be the man unless you have the command. Tonight, no walks for Julio Urias. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 run, 5 Ks, 14 for 22 on first pitch strikes, 20 called strikes. So 20 called strikes for Julio Urias. 9 swings and misses. Just that solo shot to Carson Kelly, who hits over 350 at Dodger Stadium for some reason, his 4th bomb at Chavez Ravine. So a great night for Julio Urias. But let's jump back into these comments. Who's your player of the game? You going with Julio Urias? You going with Chris Taylor? Should the Dodgers have made a trade? Yes or no? Should the Dodgers have made a trade for someone like a Lance Lynn or someone like a Trevor Bauer? Let me know down below in the comments. Will that affect the Dodgers? Me personally, I think the Dodgers are going to be just fine, and I just trust Andrew Freeman. That's what it comes down to. I trust Andrew Fleesman because you understand that this guy understands value, and if there was a move to be made that could have helped this club, he would have made it because look, last year's club, there really wasn't big. Look, pretty much since 2014, you've had big moves. You've had big moves to get World Series championships. With Chapman and the Cubs, you've had Jake Peavy go to the Royals. You've had Cueto go to the Royals too. In 2017, Verlander goes to the Astros along with the trash cans and a camera to be named later. And then in 2018, Evaldi goes to the Red Sox. So yes, there's moves to be made, but last year Hudson was the only move the Nationals made, and that didn't. He was good early on, but he wasn't the reason why they won that World Series. So you don't have to make a big trade to get the World Series win. And I think this Dodger team, they have a great chemistry. Kershaw looks like he's 2016-17 Clayton Kershaw. Walker Buehler, he was dominant in his last start. And we found Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin starting to peak at the right time. That is going to be the key for this Dodger postseason run. How well were these young starters who have very minimal postseason success? Dustin May got a little action last year, but for the most part, they are green when it comes to postseason action. How will they fare in the postseason? But here we go. Let's jump back into these comments here. Julian, I'm going to miss Stripling. We all are. Trains. Scotty is bad. Julie, go Dodgers. Julie, Dodgers should go and try to get Stripling back in the offseason. LOL. Train. Scotty shows he's a liability. Not his best night. Scott Alexander, he comes in there. And Scott Alexander comes he comes out there. Walker gets Walker to fly out, gets Escobar to ground out. Calhoun walks, and then Ahmed hit a straight bomb to left on a hanging sinker, and then he walks Andy Young. So if the Dodgers have issues, it's when they walk guys, and it's when they don't have the command of the strike zone. And Scott Alexander, he was Scott Alexander, the not-so-great in that inning. And unfortunately, Kenley Jansen had to come in, but at least Kenley Jansen got to pick up a save, and he now leads all of Major League Baseball. He already was, but he gets to add to that Major League leading 10th save for Kenley Jansen, who's having a fantastic bounce-back year after having his worst year as a pro, other than maybe his early on in his career, his worst year in recent memory last year. So Kenley Jansen, kudos, wasn't expecting to come in, but Kenley Jansen, he comes in and gets the job done there late in the game. But let's jump back into these comments. We got Will Smith is a monster out there as a hitter from Train. Doug Crosby, can someone please tell me where the Jansen hate is coming from? He fanned the only batter he faced. Did some of you watch the game? Yeah, Kenley Jansen was an absolute stud out there, considering that he wasn't expecting to go in, and then he comes in and he gets the job done. Kenley Jansen, save for that one game where he gets belted by Brandon Belt up in San Francisco last Monday. That was the only blown save of the year. So Kenley Jansen, if he can keep up this pace, Kenley Jansen is the Dodger closer, and he's going to get the big outs in October. And he didn't have the velocity, he didn't have the big warm-up time, the requisite warm-up time to get the velocity that he would like. But Kenley Jansen, he goes out there tonight, and he got it done. His ERA on the year, 1.23 for Kenley Jansen, and his K through 9 is already improved. His K through 9 is at 12.89. Last year was at 11.4. The year before that, it was at 10.3. And then Kenley Jansen, he could reduce his walk rate a little bit more. But Kenley Jansen's really having a great year. You want to probably turn up that ground ball rate. But the important thing with Kenley Jansen is he's not just throwing the cutter out there. He's a guy that is going to that four-seamer more often, and he's working in that slider. So he's working. That pitch mix has made him a more effective pitcher, because before they were sitting on that cutter, and when that cutter wasn't cutting, guys were lining up and they were hitting him deep. But not the case this year for Kenley Jansen. But let's jump back into these comments. So to answer your question, why the hate for Kenley Jansen, I think that it comes down to some of the memories in postseason past. I don't want to bring up any names or relive any nightmares, but I think that's what it is. And until Kenley Jansen gets that big save in the World Series to end things, then I think that'll erase all the pain. But Kenley Jansen has been a stud this year, and he's been beasting all season long, save for that one outing against the San Francisco Giants. Sad to see Stripling go, East Bay Raider. Yeah, what was your best Stripling memory? I like the one where he's running out when he ran to home to get the winning run against the Pirates too. That was a good one. So Ross the Boss Stripling is the man. Once a Dodger, always a Dodger. Cardinals offense is crazy good now from Train. Yeah, they're really turning it up. The Cardinals are definitely turning it up, and give them credit too, because the Cardinals, their season was in flux. They were basically in COVID hell for a couple weeks there. They could be a problem, there's no question. Edgar, that tee is sick. Piensa Azul. Go cop one at the Dodgers Nation shop. And then also be sure to subscribe to the new podcast, Dodgers Nation, Dodgers Dugout. So if you go to wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, subscribe to the newest Dodgers Nation podcast, Dodgers Dugout, where we take all of your takes from this show, the one you're watching right now. I take all your takes, and then we throw them on there. The Fire Dodger takes are included on the Dodgers Nation, Dodgers Dugout podcast, along with additional analysis, post-game reaction. So be sure to subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you're subscribed. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. But back into these comments here, we got Enjoy Meatballs Canada. Stripling is a number 3 pitcher on most teams. Dodgers are just too deep. That's from Frankie G. Edgar, we're okay with that move. May and Wood got to step up. Frankie G, favorite Stripling moment, the Forrest Gump costume. Yes. How awesome was that costume with Tony Gonsolin? That was great. Yeah, that was definitely a great moment. What were some other good ones? I think that the costume with Dustin May being Pennywise was pretty awesome too. So that was but that was definitely great. That was definitely great. But here we go. We got Padres versus Dodgers. Postseason interests me. Yeah, the Padres, is all this talk about the San Diego Padres. I think that what they did in the last few days, where Preller goes order 66, sells a lot of the key players in his farm system to acquire the trades that he made with Mike Clevinger. And Mike Clevinger is he a number 1? I think that he hasn't proven that. I think it would be better for Mike Clevinger to go to a team like the Dodgers, where they already have a clear, established number 1, because he can be a formidable number 2 or number 3 guy. But you throw him on there and you expect him to be the number 1 player on that team. I just don't see it. Look, that rotation is heavy righties. All those righties for the San Diego Padres, but a whirlwind of a 48 hours, 6 trades, 10 players coming in, 16 players coming out for the San Diego Padres. But to me, I don't fear the San Diego Padres at all whatsoever. I think that those right-handers, I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of Davies or Paddock. I mean, I think the Dodgers will they're off if they if they match up with the Padres in a series. I think it'd be great for baseball. I think if you put the mighty Dodgers, the juggernaut that is the Dodgers, against the Padres, I think that really is great for baseball because you got one of the biggest names in the sport already in Fernando Tatis. But the Dodgers would win that series. Look, they're not losing to the San Diego Padres. They haven't been in the playoffs in 14 years. They go through a rebuild, seems like every 3 or 4 years. I remember that last rebuild with Matt Kemp. They thought that was going to be their ticket. But to me, I just don't see it. I think that they are the team that if they're going to hang a banner, it's going to say San Diego Padres made some trades at the deadline in 2020. They're not a team that's going to go deep in the postseason. They did a lot of work with their bullpen to add Pomeranz, but I just don't see it. I don't think this Padres team. I think that yes, baseball. The great thing about baseball is that the hottest team is going to win. A team like the Padres that has a lot of talent is going to be a threat, but they're not beating the Dodgers in a 3-game series, a 5-game series, a 7-game series. I don't see it. They say that Fernando Tatis wants to have the big cake. I think they're going to get the pound cake at some point in that rotation. But how do you guys feel? Are they really contenders? Are they really contenders? Let me know down below in the comments. Are they really contenders? Yes or no? Are you afraid of the Padres? Are you afraid of the Padres? I personally, I don't think. I mean, Austin Nola is a guy that doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on there, and they like the way he stacks up with the analytics, but I just don't say. I think really their best acquisition was probably Clevenger. I think Clevenger, but also Mitch Moreland. I think Mitch Moreland, I have a lot of respect for him coming from Boston. But let me know down below in the comments. Are you afraid of the San Diego Padres? There is no bullpen in the major leagues that can match with the Dodgers from Eric. Padres fleece the Indians from Train. My thoughts exactly, Frankie G. San Diego Padres, East Bay Ryder. We got can't wait to play the Trastros again from Goku. Mickey, Scott Alexander pitched the ninth like Jason Alexander. Talking about George Costanza. L.A. Kendall Williams looks like a steal. Absolutely. That's your classic Andrew Freeman Dodgers pickup there. Brian Vogel, no. Paul's not afraid. Patrick Gagne, smart move to stay put at the trade deadline. Yeah, the Dodgers stood pat, and they're okay with what they had. In the past, they've made moves where it was a real position of need, but if you're the Dodgers and you see what you're getting, look, Lance Lynn would have been interesting, but the price tag was too high, and I think that the Dodgers probably would have included Ross Stripling in a package for Lance Lynn, and when that didn't go through, they pivoted and they wanted to get some value for him, and they got Kendall. So I think with the Dodgers, I'm totally fine that they didn't make the move for Lance Lynn because I think that now you show that you believe in this young talent. You show that you trust guys like Kershaw, Urias, and Buehler, and I think this rotation has a chance to guide this way through this postseason, and more importantly, I think the run support that they're going to get. Look, Ross Stripling was getting over 9 runs in run support, so this Dodger offense can make pitchers look really, really good, but I am not afraid of all these blockbuster trades. Yes, it was aggressive. Yes, they're going to be the darlings until they're knocked out because of Fernando Tatis Jr. But to me, I think that they have some flaws. They have a lot of flaws. That bullpen has just not been able to hold leads for them, and Kirby Yates was not the guy that he used to be. So I think that, I'm not afraid of the San Diego Padres. I feel like I digress when it comes to talking about them because I think they're getting so much hype. And look, the hype train is just way too much for the San Diego Padres. And look, if they're good, it'll just make the Dodgers look better en route to winning 14 consecutive division titles and then surpassing the Braves the next year. But let's get back here and jump back into these comments. We got Scotty can't do anything right. Yeah, a rough night for Scott Alexander. I think he'll bounce back. There is no way Scott will pitch in the postseason, Landon. I think that's a good fact there. I don't think they'll dig really deep into Scott Alexander, who has pitched well this year. Scott Alexander has had a solid year, But I agree with you. I don't think that he's going to be option number 1, 2, or 3 coming out of that Dodgers bullpen. But Scott Alexander on the year, he has a 1.54 ERA, a 1.54 ERA on the year. And after today, a little over 12 innings pitched. Tonight, that's going to go up. He gave up that home run. But that was only his second home run that he's given up on the year. 9 strikeouts to 7 walks. That's a number that you don't love. But when he's on, he can induce soft contact, get you that pitcher's best friend double play ball. But for the most part, Scott Alexander, I don't think you have to worry too much because the Dodgers, they have a surplus of lefties in that bullpen. If you look at it, Caleb Ferguson is having a fantastic year. Jake McGee, he looked good tonight. He hasn't been perfect, but he looked good tonight. Got rocked a couple outings ago. Then Victor Gonzalez. Don't forget about the rising star that is Victor Gonzalez. Brusdar gets all the hype, but Victor Gonzalez is a guy that can give you multiple innings. So he can give you extended relief, give you 1, maybe 2 innings. So Victor Gonzalez, then Adam Kolarek, then Alex Wood. So if you have a problem with Scott Alexander, Alex Wood can solve that issue. But I still think that he's going to be an asset. But let's jump back into this game. So Dodgers get the win now, improved to 9-2 against lefties. And yeah, this game is not one you're going to remember, right? It's not going to be on ESPN Classic or anything like that. But the Dodgers, they took care of business, and they did what they needed to do to beat down on a bad team. The Diamondbacks, 26 in the starting pitcher ERA, 27 in relief pitcher ERA. The Dodgers, second and third in those departments. The Dodgers did what they needed to do, and Cody Bellinger was out. Justin Turner is now on the injured list. So tonight, it was great to see Julio Urias, who goes 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 run, 5 strikeouts, and no walks. But here we go. By the way, if you just a reminder to be sure to subscribe. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel Dodgers Nation TV. So YouTube.com/Dodgers Nation TV. Train feels like 2019 all over again. Machado is lazy from East Bay Raider. Yeah, I don't think a team with Manny Machado as a leader has a chance to go deep into the postseason. He's a strikeout machine. He's a double play machine. He's a guy who struck out to end the 2018 World Series. So Manny Machado, he's a good player, though. Manny Machado's a good player. There's no question about it. He's having a really solid year after having a slow start. He's really having a great year. And that offense is going to score points. That offense is going to score runs. They have the chance to be potent, but I'm not afraid of that squad down in San Diego. Like I said, it's going to be they're going to body slam Diego if they play them in the postseason. Mark my words, the Dodgers will not get eliminated by the San Diego Padres. I know most people out there are saying, "Oh, which team do you not want to play?" A lot of people are saying the Padres. I'm saying bring it on. They're going to be body slam Diego'd, and we're going to give them the pound cake, even though Fernando Tatis wants the whole cake. I'm telling you, they're not ready to win now. To me, it was a move where Preller was saying that, yes, I'm going to be a guy that has been waiting to make these moves, and I've been stockpiling all this talent to cash in 2020. It's a shorter season. 16 teams make the playoffs, so let's be aggressive and let's win the whole damn thing. But I think what that's going to lead to is you're going to see Fernando Tatis Jr., he's going to turn into Mike Trout. He's going to turn into Mike Trout and be the best player in the game playing on a crappy team on the West Coast. Okay, so I think that's what will happen, and not afraid. Here we go. Oh, we got hashtag body slam Diego. We can make that a thing from Edgard. Haha, you might be right from Frankie G. Clevenger, postseason is scary. Yeah, Clevenger, he hasn't been lights out in the postseason, hasn't gotten very much success. In his last start against the Astros in 2018, 9 strikeouts and 3 walks in 5 innings pitched. So Clevenger is a guy that he also has a really violent delivery, too. He has a violent delivery. He spent a lot of time on the injured list. So I think ultimately injuries could derail his career. I've been high on Clevenger, but I think that the Dodgers are fine. Clevenger is not, to me, he doesn't have that moxie to be that number 1 guy. Maybe a 2 or 3, maybe a above average 2 and a lights out 3. But to me, he's not the front of your rotation lights out dominant starter that the Padres think they acquired with Mike Clevenger. I think I would have rather had Yeah, I mean, I think is a better fit in San Diego than Lance Lynn would have been, but I think Lance Lynn is having a better year. Clevenger barely cracks the top 5 pitchers in our own division. Yeah, that's a good point right there. That's a great point. But Clevenger isn't that good this year. Yeah, and also he's gotten off to a slow start because of that 2-week his stint on he was optioned because of his inability to follow coronavirus protocols. And to me, the character issues are not irrelevant to me. I still consider them. But I think the Dodgers would have been fine with that in that aspect. I think if they would have embraced him and he would have embraced the Dodgers culture, that ultimately it would have been fine. But to me, it's all about can he perform on the field. And to me, he is not a number 1 starter. But he's better than Paddock. He's a lot better than Paddock, who's by far, if you like, almost every metric, he's got to be one of the most overrated pitchers in the game. We need to win this time for Kershaw, East Bay Raider. Yeah, I think that is the biggest. That's one of the biggest facts, big facts right there from East Bay Raider. Big facts. We need to win this one for Kershaw. We need to win this one for Koufax. We need to win this one for Vin Scully, Tommy Lasorda, all the Dodger fans out there that have been waiting for a World Series since 1988. Now, if you ask me who's the Dodgers' biggest obstacle in the first round, it is 1988 because the shadow that has been casted from that year and this drought, I think, gets to the Dodgers during certain games. The pressure begins to mount, and sometimes it just becomes a little much. But with no fans in the stands, they're not going to be feeling that nervous energy. I think the Dodgers, at some point, they have to break through. Chris Taylor was good tonight from Landon Sports Talk. Yeah, Chris Taylor, he had himself a night tonight. CT3 definitely did his thing. He goes 2 for 4 with 2 doubles. So slugging tonight for Chris Taylor. Let's check out who's your Dodgers dog of the night. You remember my player of the game is CT3. My player of the game is CT3. My Dodgers dog of the night. And when I say dog, I mean that in a positive way. Who's fierce, lots of tenacity. I'm going with Julio Urias in the first inning. First inning, Julio Urias, just 12 pitches, 9 strikes, and he did his thing there. He was efficient. He had the command of the strike zone, landing his breaking stuff, throwing fastballs by guys. He was focused. I'm going with Julio Urias for my Dodgers dog of the night because that is the attitude he has to have. Remember Tommy Lasorda, he said, hey, Oral, I don't like this nickname. I'm calling you the Bulldog. With Urias, if he starts to pitch with some dog, he goes out there, he's a totally different pitcher. So he's my Dodgers dog of the night. Dodgers choke postseason after postseason from Train. That's the same hacky take that everyone has. Yes, and look, fine. If you want a sport where the best team in the regular season wins every year, go watch basketball. Go watch football where the top teams make it every year. Baseball to me is the greatest sport because you have that variation. Last year, a team that started 19-31 won the World Series. The Marlins have won as a wild card. Look, to me, yes, baseball, yes, the Dodgers have had some unsuccessful postseasons, but 2018, if you want to have that conversation, to me, they overachieved and winning Game 7 on the road in Milwaukee in a year where they had their struggles on a World Series hangover last year. If you want to call it a choke, that's fine. You can call it a choke. You're up at home. You should have won, but we all know why they didn't. Adam Clark should have been in there. Kenta Maeda should have stayed out there. Kershaw had no business in that game. But, hey, that is baseball. That's why we love it, because the reason why I love baseball the most is because baseball is the cruelest sport. So I'm okay with that. We won't. Replying to Jonathan, that's all. I say stress. It's a struggle to be a Dodgers fan, Train. But, Train, you love it. You love the Dodger blue, and you're going to bleed blue until you're through, right? You're going to bleed blue forever because that's what the Dodgers are. Look, the Chicago Cubs, Boston Red Sox. Look at that drought. So, make sure these comments are going up. Look at that drought. So, that is the nature of baseball. And look, 32, 31 years, I'm fine. As long as I'm not doing 86 years like the Red Sox or 107 years like the Chicago Cubs, will be just fine. Giants had a 50-year drought, too. That's from Jose Rod 05. Adrian Lopez, represent from Napa Valley, California. It's never too late to join the Dodgers Nation post-game show. Thanks for rocking with us here. Indians are like at 80. I think the Indians won, in 54, I believe. Want to double-check that, but almost sure they won back in 1954. But let's see if there's anything else we need to touch on with tonight's game. Make sure we broke down all of tonight's action. So, yeah, the big thing tonight, 8 walks for the Dodgers. They're now 16-2 when they walk 4+ times in a game. And, yeah, let's break down the bottom of the 6. So, Payamps comes in to replace Young for the 6th, and a 4-pitch walk for Mookie Betts to lead things off. Corey Seager takes the free pass, giving the Dodgers runners on first and second, no outs. A.J. Pollock rips one down the left field line. A nice play by LeCastro, who was already shading that direction for the first out, but another hard hit ball for A.J. Pollock, who had himself a great night too. A.J. Pollock, he goes 2 for 5 on the night, and he also gets a double and a single. So A.J. Pollock hitting .333 against lefties. He does it again today. And then Muncie's called out on strikes for the second out of the 6th. It was a curveball in the outside corner. Muncie thought it was outside. Corey Blazer, I don't like that call. I think that was a ball on that one. And then Chris Taylor, he smokes one to right over the head of Cole Calhoun. Cole Calhoun made a bonehead play out in right field. It was a line drive right at him. He didn't look like he was stuck in the lights or anything. But unfortunately, Cole Calhoun, it just came to him. He didn't go back at all, and he tries to leap in the air at the last second. It goes right over his head, and then that scores Corey Seager, and then it scores Mookie Betts, making it 6-1 Dodgers, his 3rd double and the 4th of RBI of the night. So 2 doubles, 4 RBIs for Chris Taylor on the night. And then in the 7th, a 1-2-3 7th in just 9 pitches for Jake McGee. Alex Wood comes in. He had a nice showing tonight in his first appearance since coming off the IL. Then in the 9th, the Dodgers ran into some unnecessary trouble. Alex Wood was sleepwalking out there in the 9th inning. They had to bring in Kenley to close things out. But Julio Urias, his best start of the season by far. And we'll be back on Thursday. So a couple more of your Fire Dodger takes. Like I said, give me those red-hot Fire Dodger takes before we head out here. And the Dodgers, they now improved to 27-10. They've won 8 straight at Dodger Stadium, 4.5 games ahead in the NL West over the San Diego Padres, which we've talked about length tonight. 4 times, the Dodgers get 6 runs on 8 hits, 8 walks. And Julio Urias, 7th star of the year. He was really more than quality. The best start of the season, a turnaround start for Julio Urias, who coming into tonight, 24 strikeouts to 10 walks, now 29 strikeouts to 10 walks for Julio Urias through 33 innings of work. And he's had some rough outings of late. He comes in, and that was the deal today. Julio Urias, by the way, I was already ready to say if he comes out today and he doesn't pitch well, he has a 2.21 ERA out of the bullpen. But to me, last year, it wasn't his year as far as a starter. He was used mostly as a spot starter, came in as a relief option. Now he knows I'm a starting pitcher. I'm the number 3 pitcher for the Dodgers, and I got to pitch like a front-end starter for the rest of this year into the postseason. And you saw that improvement tonight. Julio Urias, big shout-out, player, the Dodger dog of the night. But here we go. Corey Seager is the best double hitter. Yeah, Corey Seager is a professional doubles hitter. That is what Corey Seager does. But he doesn't lead the team in doubles. Do you guys know who leads the team in doubles? Let me know down below in the comments. I'll give you a hint. He hit one tonight. Who leads the team in doubles? That is A.J. Pollock. 9 doubles for A.J. Pollock on the year. Mookie Betts and Corey Seager are tied at second with 8. And here we go, East Bay Raider. Here we go at East Bay Raider. Mookie Betts' presence this year has been something we have missed in our previous years. I agree with that 100%. Mookie Betts, his mere presence and the way he holds his teammates accountable, he's a leader out there, and he leads by example, and by most accounts, too, he's a vocal leader behind the scenes. And I think Mookie Betts, he has a level of professionalism. And by the way, did you hear Rick Monday? I don't know where I heard this, but I think it was on the radio before the game. Rick Monday was talking about how Mookie Betts was fielding ground balls at second, and he wasn't just fielding them. They were turning double plays, hard line drives, and he usually warms up in the infield, and it's good for outfielders, but it was extensive. It was an extensive workout at second. That's what Rick Monday was reporting on the radio before the game. And like I mentioned, the Dodgers at second base, they're getting 203. They're batting 203 from that position group. You never know. Maybe Mookie Betts at second, load that outfield. They have the depth to do it. It's something to think about. If you guys, it could be the death lineup. It could be the death lineup. Mookie at second, because Kike's not going to get it done, in my opinion. Yes, he'll have that occasional blast. He's had some big games. He's had some big games in big games, like in 2016 against the Cubs, last year against the Nationals in Game 3. But I think ultimately it's going to be a mix of Gavin Lux, and I think they'll fit in Chris Taylor somewhere around in the diamond here. Will Smith has the lowest chase rate. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier about Will Smith. He also has, Will Smith, his walk to strikeout rate is at 1,500 right now. So he is definitely a guy out there. His strikeout percentage is among the lowest on the team. Corey Seager, very impressive at 144. Will Smith right behind him at 152. So I think Will Smith, he looks like he's more confident out there too. And I think he's someone, bottom of that lineup, the catcher spot. Not only can he get on base, he can hit for power. He can slug at that catcher spot. He knows how to drive balls out of the yard. So I think Will Smith is big time there. But from Melbourne, Australia, still in lockdown, but the Dodgers, we got George from Melbourne, Australia, still in lockdown, but the Dodgers are traveling along nicely and giving me something good to watch every day. What's up? We got Australia in the house. So that means you get to watch the Giants season go down the drain the opposite direction, right? But hey, the Dodgers, we're glad they're providing you some entertainment. Thanks for rocking with us here on the Dodgers Nation post-game show. By the way, look for the podcast coming out tomorrow, Dodgers Nation, Dodgers Dugout, so you can hear all your takes, so you can get in. It's basically your podcast, right? We throw in your takes, additional analysis. We put on some post-game reaction. You're going to love it. I wonder if the rumors are true that Kersh hates Smith. I don't think that there's no rumors that he hates Smith. I mean, I think that's a stretch right there. I think the rumors are that he's more comfortable with Austin Barnes, and Austin Barnes, that's what he does great. Austin Barnes knows how to call a good game, and a lot of the pitchers feel very comfortable with Austin Barnes, but I've not heard from anyone that Kershaw hates Will Smith. So let's not spread that rumor. But hey, guys, we're almost at the 1 hour mark. You know I could talk baseball all night long with you guys, but thanks again for rocking with us here on the Dodgers Nation post-game show. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMAC_LA. That's at DMAC_LA. Remember, there's nothing that brings us together like Dodgers baseball. Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.